want to tell you
Woohoo!
this.
Oh my gosh, it's on.
Okay, remind me what we're doing with this. That's the mic. When we do the question and answer.
I texted Keith this morning.
Yep. Waiting, accept. Boom, done. Thank you.
Put your hands up.
Everyone was very happy that you were in.
How did you get that?
I have like an airdrop.
Like a song, something you're in the middle of a snap. Everyone was so excited that we were together again.
Actually, this is what
Does that happen?
Okay, we're going to get this started because we have to be done by 3:45. We have a lot to get through. So come on down. Shake that last hand. Come on, let's get intimate.
Exactly.
How you doing? This is Playlist Live, DC 2017. Woo! Woo! Come on, let's get a little energy going here. Thank you. My name's Drew Baldwin, and I'm the founder and creator of the Streamy Awards. Has anyone ever heard of the Streamies? Celebrate the best in digital entertainment and the creators behind it. The Streamies are going to be live on Twitter on September 26th. We did a global partnership with Twitter's new premium content live initiative, so you can watch on Twitter at Streamies, at STREAMYS. I also am the publisher and owner of TubeFilter. TubeFilter is a publication that talks about the business of YouTube and digital content. So if you are a professional, like this man right here, subscribe to TubeFilter and read our daily top stories newsletter and get up to speed on everything that's happening in the digital entertainment industry. How many of you are creators here in the audience? Woo! Good job. How many of you are gonna be creators and you're just waiting for your moment?
Our YouTube channel right now.
We're going to convince you to start a YouTube channel right now.
How many of you are sort of more in the business side, producers, managers, helping to put content together? Okay, great. So everyone here, please subscribe to TubeFilter. Trust me, it's going to help you with your career, and it's going to help us with our monetization. So thank you. TubeFilter, TubeFilter. Tube like YouTube, filter like boom. So we're going to talk a little bit about business. Just of those of you who are creators, how many of you have had a channel or have been producing content online for over 5 years? Yeah, including the dais. And how many of you have at least 100 subscribers? At least 5,000? At least 10,000? 100,000? Okay. So that's good. Because, oh yeah, and up. I said at least. So I just want to get a sense of the context of the audience, just because I think we're going to tailor that conversation. We're talking about alternative paths to monetization. As you know, this year has been a little cray for those of us who rely on AdSense, on YouTube, and strictly rev share models. I think there's a lot of diversification and a lot of opportunities to diversify your strategy. I think what we want to get through today is when do you decide to do that, because it's a huge burden. You already wear so many hats as a creator. When do you actually decide to go wide when you think about your strategy? When do you start leveraging the audience that you build on YouTube or wherever it is to help build a real business as an entrepreneur? We have some amazing entrepreneurs on the session today. We have some creators that are going back to AdSense, going towards AdSense, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what I'm going to do is, starting with Grayson, we're going to go just down the line really quick, just introduce yourself, and then we'll get right into it and start talking.
Hi, I'm Grayson Berger. I stream on Twitch and occasionally YouTube videos, but I used to do YouTube videos for like 7 years.
My name is Chris Thompson. My channel is Sub Daily. I do all of the things on the internet.
My name is Megan Tonjes. I do daily videos. I'm a musician, and I talk a lot about body positivity and do social commentary stuff.
Hey guys, I'm RJ Tolson. I do RJ Tolson vlogs. Basically, just vlog about my journey as an entrepreneur. I'm the CMO of a multi-million-dollar company, as well as a best-selling author.
Hey guys, I'm Olga Kay. I started my YouTube channel back in 2006, so I've seen the revolution of YouTube and how it turned into a business. And then I leveraged everything that I've built there and started a company called Mooshwalks, and it's innovative socks with ears and wings that focus on empowering young girls, and I fully focus on that right now.
They're really cute.
My name is Justin Gerhardt. I run the Gay Men channel on YouTube, and yeah, it's educational, it's fun, it's everything you want to know about gay culture and more. It's not just for gay people.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Is it on?
Let's give them a warm welcome. We'll also have some questions. We'll toss the mic around, so we'll give you some time to ask some questions. We might actually do that, not quite at the end, but actually in the middle, just to guide the conversation. But I wanted to start sort of, let's just kind of follow the evolution of online video. Before it was just fun, not really anyone was making money at all, especially many of us who started in the mid 2000s. I think we started to filter in 2008, 2009, but 2006, Olga, man, wow. So, and then the partner program rolled out, and people started doing rev share monetization. And then recently, in this last year, we had the adpocalypse, and I think that really changed the way that creators started thinking about their business. So, I just want to just pop in there. Whoever wants to talk, I know Chris has something to say about this. But how did?
What does that mean?
Just because we've talked about it, and I know you're very knowledgeable about it. How has YouTube's policy change? Change the way that you think about building your business on YouTube?
Well, I mean, for a long time, I've talked about hard issues. I've talked about, have extensive work in the LGBT community, educating people from an ally perspective on issues there, talking about gender inequality, just talking about things that advertisers are completely terrified of now. Well, not now, always have been, but now they have the option to opt out of giving you those high-paying ads. So I went from making $2 for 1,000 views to making closer to 30 to 40 cents. So it just, I think until that moment, I was a little bit more, I had alternate revenue streams, but I was very much focused on just YouTube, where now in the game, because I've been doing it since 2006, now in the game there's so many other platforms that you can generate revenue with, and places that you can build an audience that maybe is more conducive to the type of content that you make. And for me, I wasn't willing to change the type of content that I made in order to appease advertisers. And frankly, if any of you have that mindset, I would really suggest against it, because one of the most important things for building brand loyalty is your authenticity. Yep. So only speak from your heart when you talk about things, and that is how you build your brand. So I just started looking. I was like, okay, well, I want to talk about these hard things, and I don't want to have restriction on that. So I was like, well, what is most conducive to the type of content that I want to make? And I found podcasting. And that is a way that I know with podcasting, the subscription boxes are always going to work. I'm not competing against a bunch of people, and there's no restrictions. So if you have a type of content that you want to make, I would, instead of saying, how can I apply this to just YouTube, think, what platform would be best for me to look at first? Because maybe there's where you're going to have the most amount of success versus where is the widest array of audience.
I was just going to add, and I think that it's amazing that we still have the YouTube to place. You can put all your videos on. You could even put your podcasts as just like taped sessions on the YouTube, but that it's just not all of your revenue coming from there. So yeah, the diversification.
Well, Megan, I remember you said Patreon was a big part of sort of your your recent strategy. I remember like there was a woman named Felicia Day. She did like one of the first web series that really caught traction when we started to filter. It was called The Guild. And there was no monetization at the time, but she basically put she would post like on YouTube, but also just on a website, and then she'd have a PayPal button for donations, and like direct donations from your audience actually was how she funded her first web series. Now her work is in the National Archives, the Library of Congress, which is amazing accomplishment. But Megan, you were talking about how Patreon was really kind of a lifesaver for you. Were you at one point comfortable with AdSense and revenue share at first, and then Patreon saved you, or was it just, were you just waiting for the moment and then Patreon came along?
Well, I started in 2006, and I never made money off of AdSense, really. I was doing music, and I was doing a lot of covers, specifically, and so, now there's more options you have. So if you're doing cover music, you can license a lot of that music through. It used to be Louder, but now I think it's called Sound Drop.
Yeah, can you explain that? Like why you can't make money if you're a cover artist?
So when you put ads on covers of songs that you don't own, they like to try to sue you, or they now. A lot
Now
of
there's
times what
mechanics by
happens-
which they cut
like
it
trying
up,
to
right?
say- Yeah, now they're depending if you're with an MCN, they might have more of like an insight on how to do certain things and share ads with the writers and the publishers and the artists. But now what happens a lot of times, I don't put ads in the covers, but a lot of times the record label will come and put their own ads on it. And it's for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, I get to keep my video up and you can put your ads, and that is what it is. But a way of kind of getting around that is you can license the music. Put it through a system like SoundDrop or Louder, and you put it up on iTunes, Spotify, all those places. And so when it's played or it's bought, you get a percentage of that. But
Yeah,
I
because
never,
you're like doing free promo for the artist, and
yeah,
you're giving
I
free
wish there was a
content for
better system in
people, and you're
place, yeah.
giving content for the platform.
Exactly.
But what are you getting?
Well, for me, so a huge reason I started doing covers to learn how to play guitar, and to interact with my audience and give them a chance to give me options for what I could do.
So you weren't a accomplished guitar musician when
No.
you started.
I was like 6 months into playing guitar maybe, and
So
I uploaded
that's
10
amazing.
videos where I never spoke. I didn't say my name for the first 10 videos. I just started playing songs I'd either written or that I was learning how to play. And then for me, I never made money off of AdSense. I'm at a point now where I'm making money off of AdSense, but I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I got opportunity off of doing the covers because for me, it was like that was a way, especially early days, to get seen. So, I went on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2011 because I did a Britney Spears and a Bruno Mars cover, and I got to meet Adele out of that, essentially, which is a weird story in and of itself. But I had done covers of her songs, so she knew me. I went on tour with an artist called Ron Pope because people were sending my cover to him over and over again. He was like, "Who is this girl?" And he needed an opener for tour. I worked with Hoodie Allen. Because I had covered a song of his, and he followed me on Twitter and DM'd me, and then when he needed someone to do background vocals on Conan or to be on his album when I was in New York, he reached out to me. So for me, it's always been opportunity more than AdSense. So it's about kind of getting your foot in the door and getting seen by people. Recently, I've actually had like the opposite experience where I feel a lot of my friends are dealing with the demonetization and the adpocalypse. And I was super concerned because a lot of stuff I talk about now is very topical. I talk about politics. I talk about just everything that's happening in the world pretty much. And it's not necessarily like advertiser friendly. I swear in my videos. I kind of I know I say bad words.
But it's daily, right? You're
I
like
say
daily.
bad words. I do sex toy unboxings. Like I'm just all over the place. But none of that's really been demonetized for me. And I don't know like where I'm like hidden under a rock somewhere. YouTube doesn't know. I don't know what's happening.
Well, you weren't monetizing.
I'm monetizing those videos now. So now I'm doing daily videos, and what I've realized is, so like before, I would maybe make a few $100s off of AdSense after a few months, and now like I can pay my rent with AdSense. But that is a whole different animal of like I'm uploading every single
Are you
day.
like chasing SEO
I
too?
recorded a video before I came out here, and I have to go edit it.
Yeah, no, I saw you editing.
Yeah, I was editing in the back room. So
It's a hustle.
It's a hustle, but I always came from the perspective of you can't put all your eggs in one basket, as my grandma would say, right? And so I've been saying that since like 2008, where I always made sure to diversify, whether it's with merch or it's Patreon. I did a podcast. I've been doing podcasts for 3 years, and we would offer these little incentives for people to donate and to support that. We shout you out during the podcast. You get Skype calls. You get handwritten letters. You get gift boxes. You get all these things. And so it's like that's a way of the audience that really, really cares. Subscribing to your content in a different kind of way and feeling a part of it and feeling included. That saved me because I wasn't making AdSense, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, if we do 2 podcasts a week, I can pay rent.
It's awesome.
And so it's kind of, that's the thing that we're seeing a lot of YouTubers. It's like AdSense didn't work anymore, and if your entire world was based off of AdSense, you're kind of screwed. But if it's a third, or even a third, kind of screwed too. But you need to like you really need to like have all of these kind of irons in the fire, as it were, so that if something goes out, you're not completely struggling, completely gutted, starting from the ground up.
Are you still doing Patreon, and you're still
Yeah,
doing music?
I do a personal Patreon for my stuff. I do a Patreon with my roommate for a podcast, and it's been really good for us. I mean, so now it's like AdSense for me is a third, Patreon for my personal Patreon's a third, and then my podcast is a third.
Yeah, I mean, like Olga, you've been doing this from 2006, and I remember you started producing. You forgive me this if I'm
I know
wrong.
where you're going with this, I think.
But like you produced content, then you started, you had AdSense, then you were producing more, and more,
A
because
lot
the more
more.
that you produce, the more you would make. But then you were like, at some point, it's like you are just constantly just
Yeah, so I want to
doing
go.
production, and there's no, like you're on the hamster wheel, basically.
Yeah, so I want to go down the memory lane a little bit. I like to do it once a year. So back in 2006, when I started, nobody was making money. So it was a group of people that wanted to express themselves and really to show the world that YouTube is a really great place to be, and here's how we
And it was gonna
express
work out.
ourselves. And it's going to work out. It's like a very entrepreneurial set of first golden age of YouTube personalities. So none of us were making money, but we were making content, trying to figure out how the platform worked and trying to figure out what our voice is. Then we started making money, and then the next thing was how do we figure out how to place our content in the place where brands will pay attention to what we're doing? Because AdSense was never it never paid anyone's bills really. But if you team up with another brand, that's kind of what really propelled you to the next level. So we did that for a couple of years, and then I realized that I had so many more passions, like playing video games, and I really felt guilty that I would just play around. So I turned all of my passions into my job. So eventually I ended up having 4 channels, and I've produced 23 videos a week. And
23 videos a week.
so if you can't produce 1 video a week, just wake up earlier and don't have social life, and you'll be fine. So I was part of that, and I loved it. Like, it was just a weird thing where I realized that I love being a workaholic. So when I was producing 23 videos a week, I mean, I don't recommend it.
Right. It's like, I mean, I get the mentality. It's like, okay, if I make this much off of 1 video a week, if I make 23, then I can make
But it
theoretically
but it
23
actually
times
also
as much.
it also became not how much I can make, but I had to pay people that worked with me. So then I had to create content, to support everybody's salaries. And just typical rent in Los Angeles and so on. I don't recommend that because it also threw me in a major burnout on YouTube, where I would sit in front of the computer and I would just get the shakes. But at the same time, I'm thankful because that's what propelled me to start my business. I really stepped away and I stopped making videos, and I thought, well, I have this audience, and it's lots of teenage girls. What can I do that is very close to my heart and also will fulfill the girls that are watching me? And that's how I started my sock company. And it sounds funny, probably, but I created this sock company that was cute, and every character had a name and personality attached to them, and it kind of represented the pillars of every girl, if they aspire to be more confident or more of a go-getter or more of a rebel. So the socks would represent those. And so I wanted to create something that was more interesting. And going back to when do you start, branching out, I wish I started 2 years earlier.
Really?
Yes, because it was always within me. I just didn't know how to access it. And I feel like you really, people used to say, when you start a YouTube channel, figure out what your voice is and really be authentic to what you do. But I feel like now you have to figure out how can you branch out your brand from the beginning. And I wish I knew that, but it took a while too.
Yeah, I mean, but you're playing the same amount of hustle that would someone who could do 23 videos a week to your sock company. It's
yeah, and
amazing
whatever
what
my
you've
next company
accomplished.
is gonna be, it's gonna be the same story. So I'm excited.
I would say, to add to that, it's like your idea may not like leap through the sky right away, but it's like you said, you wish you'd started it sooner. If you just like get the idea going, whatever, you're gonna have like 6 followers, but it started somewhere, so that when you meet that person that's gonna take it to the next level, it's ready. There's no luck. Opportunity meets being ready.
You said that you're also like selling T-shirts now. Or
Yeah, which
not
is
a shirt.
actually, it's a brand new thing for me that I was afraid to start because I thought it was sort of a dumb idea. But I take old shirts and I cut the sides off, and I'm sure everybody in this room has done that before, but nobody's branded it. And so I was wearing it one time, my mom was like, "That's not even a shirt, Justin." And I said, "You're right, it's not a shirt." And so that's what I call them. They're called Nada shirts. I cut them myself. I didn't really know where to start it, so I just started an Instagram page, and now we're just building following with that. And it's small right now, but the fact is that I can actually talk about it. Whereas before, I had this little idea that was kind of cool, but I didn't know if it was going to work out.
Did you have this like instinct? You want to wait for the perfect time.
Exactly.
Like, first, I need to get to a certain amount of subscribers or a certain amount, and then I'll be ready. And
Exactly.
I want to make sure that it's
Like the
time is
perfect logo, the perfect everything.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect. right now is the perfect time to start it because you never know who you're going to meet tomorrow.
I want to add to this real fast. When I started my brand, I knew nothing about business or e-commerce or how to manufacture a product. My first website had pictures of what the socks will look like, and I did pre-orders that way. And I'll add to you, Justin. If you wait for a perfect moment, it will never happen. It's like kind of having children. Like you get knocked up, and then you're a parent.
Then it happened.
That's a great analogy. I love this right there.
And then you're just forced to become better every day. That goes for business or YouTube channel or anything else, really.
You know, I would like to kind of talk a little bit about treating yourself as not as an entertainer, as a creator, but also as a business person. That's really important. I know that RJ, I mean, you're the CMO of a big company. I want to hear from you. But before I do that, I wanted to let Grayson have a chance because she says that she's not primarily a YouTuber. You're primarily on Twitch,
Yes.
and the monetization on Twitch is very different, I think, than YouTube. Can you tell me a little bit about how your business works?
So with streaming, you kind of just set up your computer, start streaming, and stream to your audience. It's amazing, and I love it. I used to make Let's Plays videos on YouTube, and it was just a whole process of I have to get the gameplay, my webcam, everything of the sort. And then I discovered live streaming, and I was like, I'm pretty much doing this already. Might as well do this live. And I started doing it, and people would watch, and it became to grow into what it is now. And I love it so much more because I don't have to sit, play for 3 hours, and then edit for another however many hours. It's all done, all ready to go, and then I can upload the video to YouTube. And so with revenue, it's a matter of people like what you do, they like who you are, they like your personality, or they like what you talk about, because it doesn't have to be just gaming on Twitch. It can be anything. It could be art. It could be like making your own clothing, cosplay. It's fantastic. I love it so much. And the community is amazing. And if they like what you're doing, they subscribe to you, and there's different options so they can donate to you and support you and be like, hey, I like what you're doing, here's $1. And that adds up after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of people. And then there's also people who can subscribe via Twitch. And that's either $5, $9, or $10, or $24.99 a month. And that's consistently subscribing to you. And they get different tiers, and they get different options in your chat that they can post, like cute little emotes and different things that they can subscribe to and gain access to. And it's one of the best things. I love
What's
it.
the breakdown like? Is it mostly donations, or is it mostly?
You can do sponsorships, donations, subscriptions, pretty much anything.
I like the idea of subscriptions because then you kind of have an idea what your next month's going to look like, as opposed to like, all right, I'm uploading this thing and good luck.
Yeah, and you can do it also on YouTube. You can live stream on YouTube, and it's the same thing. They have super chats and donations and subscriptions as well. It's amazing. I love it.
So RJ, you introduced yourself really as an entrepreneur first, and then as a creator second. Tell me a little bit about your business and how online video kind of plays into that business. I mean, do you consider yourself an entertainer personality first, or do you consider yourself as an entrepreneur business person first?
I would say entrepreneur, just because it's definitely something that I've been doing for the last 7 years, basically since I was 18. Founded the company, became multi-million, had about 150 employees by the time I was 20. I sold that at 22, and then I took a break from basically being an entrepreneur in a sense, and kind of went into the corporate world just to see what it was like. I wanted to expand my horizons, so I spent a year in England, in the U.S., working for startups and multi-million-dollar companies, trying to be their CMOs, figuring out what they do, what they don't do. And then I co-founded Parrot, which connects interns and employers based on personality.
What's it called?
Parrot.
Parrot?
Yes. So we make sure that we connect interns and employers based on personality and general compatibility to make sure that we are trying to build a happier society where people are happier because their careers are better. And since you spend most of your time in your careers, luckily, as YouTubers, as entrepreneurs, you guys probably love what you do, which is the same for me. I want other people to feel the same way, and that's what we're trying to do, starting with internships.
So how does online video play into your business model?
So my goal with my channel is to show people how to be successful both as an author as well as an entrepreneur. So how to start your own company, how to build it up into a multi-million dollar
educational.
business. Yeah, it's how to. I mean, I do collabs and stuff like that, but mostly it's chronicling what I'm doing and how I do it.
And is that for your personal brand, or is that more for your actual business? I mean, like, what's the ROI on your investment of your time, or you're monetizing, or how's it work?
It's all three.
Is it like pushing towards your book, or is it pushing towards?
It's whatever's happening in the moment. So I spent a lot of my time recently, the last 8 months or so, I spent on my company really building it up. We went from 4 employees to 22 in about 3 or 4 months. We have 2 offices now in LA. So I spent a lot of time focusing on that, but I'm going back. Basically, the fall season is like author stuff, so panels, book festivals. So I'll be doing both, where I focus on like writing books, writing novels, different genres. I have a sci-fi book and a self-help book. So I've done both. So I try and help people write those. And I think you guys mentioned earlier about like just doing something. One of the biggest problems with writers specifically is that they never actually finish their book. They talk and talk and talk, and it's just like, and they say like they're editing, they're doing this, but the thing is like as soon as you finish it, that's where you can start doing something with it. Until then, it's just an idea until you finish it, which I love like hearing because I think that's what people need to do.
I mean, Olga said that she wished she had started 2 years earlier when she started, like, the sort of moosh walks socks. I mean, do you all else have stories where you wish you had done something earlier? Did you waited too long, or?
I know for me with live streaming, I heard about it for years and I just was so nervous to do it live because I didn't have that delay to respond to people. I had to be very active like immediately and it was just a live response. So I was very like scared to do it at first. And then when I finally did it, I was like, why didn't I do this years ago? This is so much fun. Like you just get over it, you get over the fear. Once you get past that, it's amazing. You excel yourself.
I think for me, something that I recently, in the past like year or two, have started to let go was because I started at a time when we didn't make money, so it was really just about making stuff that you liked and creating stuff that was fun, and you didn't rely on it for a job. And then once the money started coming into play, it changes the dynamic of what you're doing. There's a different kind of pressure on it, and I was always so scared of it being a job because the minute it became a job, I was scared I wouldn't love it the way that I did. And so I fought that for a long time and kind of probably wasn't as focused on like having set days that I was uploading or like being as consistent as I could have been because it was all based on like my emotions and what I wanted to do. And I don't regret that necessarily, but I think now kind of my work ethic has matched up to my passion for what I'm doing. And I think if you're making something that you like and you can figure out how to do it sustainably in a way that doesn't take away from the quality of your life, because my videos I can film in 15 minutes. In my car. Like they're very simple and I trust my voice. It's not so much about, I don't have all this crazy quality editing all these things. It's really about getting to the topic first, giving my opinion, saying it in a way that's interesting or funny or whatever it is and bringing light to a situation. And so I kind of bank on that. And because I'm talking about stuff that I'm passionate about and I'm making something every day that I like, that I would watch, it's changed how much of my work I'm willing to put into it. And relying on it as a job, but also something I'm passionate about, is different. It's scary, but it's also really exciting in a way that I didn't think it would be.
I think the common theme here is people are doing content in the way that they actually like doing. I think we have an idea of like, well, this person is the most successful, so I have to do these things the way that they do it, and then you do it and you fail because you don't actually enjoy doing it. I think people forget that this whole thing is supposed to be enjoyable. Like there is business aspects of it, and there's going to be things that you don't necessarily love, but we don't have to do, like people are already doing things in that way, so what you have to do is innovate. Because one of the reasons that some of us are sitting here right now is because we invested in this thing called YouTube early before we knew what it was. Like I would say for me, like my only regret is I was in the top 50 channels on YouTube back in 2007, but I never took it seriously. And so I just kind of like messed off and didn't like look further into it as to what it was going to be because I didn't take it seriously. And then when I came back to like trying to do it more in 2009, I got blown past by everyone because it moves so fast. So what I would recommend to anybody is if there is, at least investigate what a platform is and invest early if it's something that aligns with who you are. But in the end, you have to like, she didn't like editing. So why is she putting all those hours into editing if she doesn't really enjoy it? Then she found something else. So I think we get fixated on things and also do the calculations. Like realistically, how many views are your videos going to get, right? Now, calculate the amount of hours that you put into making that. You are so far below, you couldn't even like throw change at a tollway with the amount of money per hour that you're making. So think about the value of your time, and then find the place that most aligns with you, that you can best invest and get a return on that time that you put in, because your time is very valuable.
I'd also say, and this is something I feel like YouTubers don't talk about enough because we're all so scared that we're gonna have to get like jobs. But there's no shame in having a job and doing YouTube, or having a part-time job and doing YouTube. I see
Takes
so
the
many
pressure
people
off.
that are like in Los Angeles that are starving, can't pay their rent, putting stuff on credit cards. I was that person because they don't want to give up this idea, this dream of being a YouTube star, of it finally working. There's every story you hear about someone that makes it on YouTube is, I was going to give up, and then the next week I became #1 on YouTube. And it's like, if I just push through, and it's like, the reality is that so many of us started working or in college or doing all these other things while we were doing YouTube. YouTube was our thing that like, okay, Thursday night I have 2 hours, I'm going to make a video. And so I think that
For fun.
sometimes we see, but that you can do it if you want it badly enough. You can prioritize your time to do the things that you want to do at the level you want to do them. But there's no shame in like going to school and having a part-time job, and then on the weekends when you have a day off, making videos. And I think we don't talk about that enough because people are like willing to just go down with the ship because they think that's what you're supposed to do. And the reality is that like not everyone's going to be #1 on YouTube. Even the people that are #1 on YouTube are making the money that they used to make. So it's not a bad idea to have, if you want, if your job needs a degree, whatever it is, to be a person outside of the internet, so that will only influence and strengthen what you're making online.
Let me just add to that your job doesn't have to suck even if you have a different job than YouTube. And that's kind of like one of the things that we're kind of my company stresses is that if you're a huge content creator and you want to do something really fun. For example, I have a couple of friends at BuzzFeed who love what they do, and so to get paid a solid salary, not really have to worry about much, they went to BuzzFeed or Upworthy or other sites that are similar to like BuzzFeed. If you enjoy something and you want to like work towards it and you want to do it, there's so many like companies, startups, apps, platforms where you can really find something that you want to do. So make sure like you discover that, or you take the time to, because you don't have to be in a job that you don't hate, most likely.
Like so many of these huge corporations are leaning now into the digital media world, which we all know a lot about and they know nothing about. So I think that's where too, like, have those side jobs. Like my friends from the Gay Women channel, Sarah and Adriana, I mean, they're filmmakers, but they also worked for production companies until last year, and they were still making tons of money on their channel, but they were making a whole bunch of connections working for Elevation. So, and I work as a bartender still, 2 times a week, maybe 4. But you know, many producers, directors, cinematographers, I still meet when I'm bartending. Everybody wants to drink, everybody wants a steak, and I can give it to you.
Let's get a little questions from the audience in the last 5 minutes that we have.
Can I throw the mic?
Yeah.
No,
can you?
Just you wanna go first?
Oh, very nice.
I juggled in my past life.
I remember this, Olga.
Hi. Couple of
Hi.
So just speak into the black disc
Yeah.
on the top. Oh, you've been this.
I got
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about so I'm a music therapist. That's my job. It's what
A music therapist?
Yes.
Cool.
Board certified. It's a thing, I swear.
We believe you.
But my YouTube channel is something I'm very passionate about, where I make sign language song covers. It's like a totally different thing. But
Sign language song covers?
yes, I'm very strange.
It's really cool. No, I just want to make sure I heard you properly.
But I'm like, for the longest time, until like I just recently got my board certification, so I'm like officially therapist. All the work is done. So, thank you. But for the longest time, I've been like using my degree and like school and work and stuff as an excuse not to put effort into my YouTube channel. Like it was like the hobby. It was something like I posted videos like once a month, no big deal. Sometimes I put more time into it. Sometimes I didn't. So like my like stats are just crazy. So now is my like moment. Like now I finished everything I need to do. Now I have time. I have a part-time job, so I have time to put in my into my YouTube channel. But I'm struggling with like getting the routine back. Like I had it once. It
was doing well, and then I lost it. And now getting that routine of like making a video regularly, because it's a lot of like work that goes into sign language covers. It takes me hours, so it's just like getting like the motivation to just do it regularly.
I want to add. I want to add something to this. So you'll never be motivated every day. So what creates motivation is success. But to get motivated, you have to become disciplined. So if you have the discipline, if you have even spent 30 minutes a day doing something, then you'll achieve your goal. And by achieving your goal, you'll gain success. And that's how you get the motivation. So motivation is actually on the other side of this. So it's all about the discipline.
Structure your day like a work day. Like I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning because I know from 6 to 8, that's my time to set my intention for the day. I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to get my mind right so that I can then attack the day. And then the day before, I've already laid out the times I'm going to do things that next day. So I don't have to think at all that day. It's like setting up your dominoes before you press them over. So if you know between this time and this is my time to work on that content, you don't have to think about it. That's just your time to do it. I think it gets cloudy when you're just kind of like going with the flow every single day, and you want to have those elements, but you don't have, when you work for yourself, you don't have your boss hovering over you saying, you have to get this done by this time.
A staff meeting at 8 o'clock every Monday.
Right. You have to be that person for yourself. So set aside that time. Between this time and this time, this is what I do. And I think if you do that, it'll kind of like snowball into like, oh, this is just what I do at this time, and it becomes instinctual and it becomes habit. And for at least 2 weeks, you have to like really hunker down, and then after about 2 weeks, it'll feel routine.
21 days is the number.
I even have days where like
Really?
there are days where you're more motivated than other days, obviously, and so I know that I'm not going to want to wake up every day and make a video. So there are days where like I'll make 2 or 3 videos in a day, and then the next 2 days I just have to edit them. So I can just sit there in my pajamas watching Grey's Anatomy, doing whatever. I do that so much, by the way. I've watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. I can
Who is
practically
still watching
doctor
Grey's
with the
Anatomy?
amount of seasons of ER and Grey's Anatomy I've
I
watched.
know. I
That's
watch
me.
your videos.
So I think that there are ways of kind of distributing the work, but I also would say like if you're doing sign language covers strategically, these are some ideas. I use a site called Click to Tweet. A lot of times when I do covers, so I can create the tweet that I want people to automatically send, and it'll include the artist that I'm covering, right? I think doing bigger people like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry or whatever, like that's gonna get you a certain amount of attention. But also there are a lot of like YouTube people or just like lower tier people, I guess, that will definitely see that in their mentions and probably shout it out. So that will get you some attention for like their original music or stuff that they're doing. And then I would say like use your degree in the stuff that you know to make content that doesn't take as long, that doesn't require as much editing. Like even if it's quick tip. Like that kind of format of like, here is a 3-minute video where me talking about something I already know, giving some feedback, answering questions, tackling one topic, and something that you can just sit down and do. Because that's going to balance it out so that when you're doing these more intensive videos that require a lot of editing, you also have these things that you can quickly make and stock up so that on the weeks where you're not feeling like making something, you have this entire like hard drive of stuff that you can just click upload.
I think the gentleman back there has a question. No, to your right, maybe one row in front of you.
Thank you so much, Q. So you mentioned Patreon. Could you, any one of you, sort of give a bird's eye overview of the different types of monetization, like crowdsourcing, but also affiliate marketing, and then maybe a sample platform for each of them?
Gosh, there's so many different ways. So Patreon is great for crowdfunding because they don't take a huge percentage. I think it's like 5% or something like that. And then it's a recurring thing instead of like one big fundraiser. Merch, there's so many. I personally prefer using Teespring for my merch because you create you can create
Flash
campaigns. So for 2 weeks, you can only have this for 2 weeks. It creates a sense of urgency, and I found more success selling stuff on day. I don't want anyone else have any other streams. I don't want to monopolize it.
Well, there's Twitch subscriptions, but I don't know the percentage of how much they take, unfortunately. I know, I need to know that. I don't
A lot of the crowdfunding.
Or I use 2 websites for brand deals. Grapevine Logic and FameBit, and there's just depending on your level, you just put in like what level, and they kind of give you the idea of what you can expect for brand deals, and they just have a bunch of brand deals listed out. I'm in the middle of 3 right now because I just saw it on there and I put in a proposal. So that's a way to get brand money in, which is really what you want for your channel, and then you can actually show other brands this is what you can expect from me when you put
Like kind of build your portfolio.
Yeah.
And like back to the schedule, it's like build that into your schedule every morning when you're doing your emails. You're like, I'm gonna apply for 3 fame bits every day, and it's just gonna build and build and build.
We're out of time, unfortunately. It goes by so quickly. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause to our panelists for offering their insights. Thank you. We'll see you around, and make sure you tune into the Streamies on September 26th on Twitter.
Woo! Get that plug.
My name's awful.
Thank you.
Hi. Sure.
I was like debating if I should give it to you or not, and then you started talking about the shorts, and I was like, okay.